About 10 stayed. During the hurricane. We evacuated around 55. All of the children were evacuated. Most of the older persons were also evacuated. So the persons who stayed were basically sort of between the ages of 20 and 50, I think around that age. There was no injuries. There was no injuries, not even a scratch.
But since then they moved?
No, they're still here.
What do you do on a daily basis here?
Mostly fishing.
Fishing. Okay. And take care of the birds?
Take care of the birds. Okay. Yep, some pig, goats.
Oh, yeah. I noticed you have a lot of goats. You guys eat a lot of goats here?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Mutton is the best thing.
Mutton is the best thing?
Yeah.
But it make you fat and you're not fat?
No. It doesn't make you fat. Keep moving.
You give this guy the mutton?
Man, I'll have him slimming.
No, that's well, we are here basically to support you guys and show that the entire Caribbean region is supporting what that you guys in the reconstruction effort. We are going to be there with you.
Yeah.
We informed our friends that we have been all parts of the region, but we felt this is the right time to be here to identify what's taking place and to ensure that you know that you are not alone. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. Take care of the birds.
Yeah, man.
I am based in Georgetown Exuma, but I have responsibility for the Greater Exuma, the Keys, and Ragged Island. We have to take a small plane to come over to Ragged Island. And we got the information that you were coming over. So we arranged a flight this morning. And we just landed. Unfortunately, it's after you would have landed and are ready to leave. But we're pleased to have you, and it's comforting, to know that you're thinking about us and acting the way you are. And I'm certain the people of Ragged Island, the Exumas, and indeed the entire Bahamas, is very grateful. And I'm certain you will hear from them in short order.
I'm honored to have both here and the CARICOM team here. What it shows is how important it is to have Caribbean integration. They have visited, especially Ragged Island, which was an island that was devastated here in the Bahamas. And of course, Caribbean suffered similar type of devastation. And they are on a fact-finding mission to make determination as to how we can rebuild not the Bahamas, but rebuild the entire Caribbean, and how we can help each other. Their visit here is especially significant because what it points out that the strength of hurricanes are becoming even more aggressive, and we must consider with time how we're going to embark on, if necessary, and the need may come, Caribbean type evacuation to ensure safety of all of our Caribbean nation and every individual within the territory. We're a growing nation, entire Caribbean nation, we're growing. And it's essential for us to protect the future of the Caribbean. And in order to protect it, we must ensure the safety, especially from the psychological trauma and insult that can occur as a result of hurricanes. Not necessarily death, as we know in the true sense, but psychological death, which can be even more devastating than death, as we know in the true sense, because we can have an entire generation lost. And they're here to ensure that we're all on board, trying to save the future of the Caribbean and understanding how to protect ourselves moving forward. So I would be honored to have my colleague, Prime Minister of Grenada, who had hosted me just recently.
Chairman of CARICOM. Gave him some spice. But let me say that to my colleagues, we are very happy to be here with you in this time. We know the significance of this visit because when we were destroyed in Grenada, every visitor that came back, particularly the leadership of the region that came to Grenada in 2004, it lifted us up, it lifted our spirits because we were battered in the true sense of the word. So, as fate has it, I'm chairman of CARICOM at this time, and when more countries have been battered in one hurricane than ever we have ever seen before, and given our experience, maybe it's, in a sense, fate is playing out itself. But I had an opportunity to visit the BVI, and I'm telling you this, I watched the premiere, and I felt sorry for him. I knew how I felt years ago. And every single building destroyed except the General Hospital, where he was holding offices. All the government offices were at the General Hospital at this time, and all the ministers' offices were destroyed. Then we went on to Barbuda. Again, totally destroyed, no inhabitant there. We only met a few horses, and some mosquitoes greeted us very seriously. So, and then we went to Antigua, and then also Anguilla, which suffered enormously. Well, Anguilla, the good thing is that Antigua not having suffered much, we used it for as staging points for a lot of the activities that we are doing. And then yesterday we went to Turks and Caicos. Again, the level of destruction is unbelievable in every sense of the word. They took us to some areas that we look like when you have a matchbox and you just squeeze it. It looked terrible. And then today we had a chance to go in Raga Island and watch the entire island. And I think it's something that we need to ensure that we can bring more publicity to the region as a whole, because I think one thing about people in the Caribbean region, they understand when a family is hurt, everyone jumps in line to help. We saw that in Grenada, and even Grenada now, after we heard about the hurricane disaster in Bahamas and other places, people are just calling and asking, how can I get this to you? How can I do this? How can I do it? That's the kind of feeling that you want in the Caribbean family. And as the Prime Minister said, one of the things we have to watch is the damage this thing is doing to the psychological state of people. It's not just the physical problems that we have experienced, it's the psychological damage that it has caused us. So we need to help each other. We need to do everything we can to make each other feel that we are there for them. And as the Prime Minister would know, we had an emergency meeting of heads at the video conference, and we agreed that we must have a donor conference very soon in the region, which looks about raising resources from inside and outside the region for the entire reconstruction effort of the countries affected. And so we look forward, that should be done very soon. But I also believe, as CARICOM now is chair of the Small States Forum, this is crucial because a lot of the resources, the $10 billion, is meant to deal with the whole question of climate change and resilience and disasters and so on. And it's an opportunity for us to maximize the opportunities there, because as chairman of CARICOM, I'm also chairing, separately so, but chairing, fortunately at this time, the Small States Forum. And there's this major conference in Washington in October, and we should use the opportunity together to talk collective language about going forward as how we use this forum to maximize the opportunities that we can gain. So, Prime Minister, we are with you. We are with the people of the Bahamas. That's why we are here, to show that camaraderie and that support at the regional level. And that's why we say to people, we are little by ourselves, but we are powerful as a united front. And that's why the more we work together, the more we unite our forces, the stronger the message can be to the regional and international community. So, SG?
Secretary.
Thank you. Prime Ministers, this is the fifth stop in this, I don't like to call it a tour, I think this mission, the fifth stop, and the level and extent of damage that we've seen when you compound it, and just even to think that this hurricane also destroyed our brothers and sisters in St. Martin, where so many Caribbean people reside, St. Thomas and St. John. It is really unprecedented in terms of the breadth of the damage. And only last year, around this time, I was here in visiting, touring the Bahamas. We had we went to Grand Bahama and to Andros, and the level of destruction and the stories that we heard. And I think the year before that, it was the Southern Islands. This is just happening. I don't want to say like that, but it's almost a way of life that we have to come to terms with. The climate change is here. Somebody referred to persons affected by the storm as climate refugees, which is serious business. And we're going to need help to rebuild. It's going to be a long haul. But we've shown that by pulling our resources together, in all of those storms, and Mr. Jackson is probably getting a report on the other storm that's forming right now. He was right by me. I have to commend him publicly, Ronald Jackson, the Executive Director of CDEMA, and the Head Executive Director of the RSS. These fellows are probably now getting updates on the storm that's forming out in the far Atlantic. So they disappeared from the lunch. But they have been doing human service to our region. The first responders are always Caribbean people. We stage our first responders, and they come from all our various islands at strategic locations, so that as soon as the storm passes, the hurricane passes, they're in. The RSS is critical, the coast guards of our member states are critical, and we have the points in Jamaica, the point in Barbados, and in between doing this work. And I don't think we realize how much work is done by Caribbean people themselves. Of course, we are getting support from the international community. I don't want to downplay that, but we are always the first on the ground, helping to assess damage. Yesterday, the Premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands was saying she's waiting because she knows that a thorough job is being done. We heard the same thing out of the BVI in terms of what's being done. And we have already begun to discuss with our international partners the need for that donor conference in terms of us rebuilding smarter. I already spoken to Mr. Jackson. We have to look at our building codes to see how we can elevate them. We have to have discussions with the insurance companies as well. That could factor into the cost of insurance one way or another. There are a lot of things that we have to do. Category 5 plus is what they're calling this one, Category 5 plus. But we saw in the BVI and in Barbuda that they were always, among this mass destruction, there was a house that nothing happened to. Not even a sheet of galvanized was lost. And we have to ask ourselves why. Is it the construction? What can we learn from that? And Prime Minister was telling us about the birds and their movement. And we have to do some research. We can't just batter down and shut it down and wait for the next storm. We're going to do a lot of work. And we have the University of the West Indies has already indicated, the Vice Chancellor, that they're willing to work with us in some of that kind of research. A lot of work going on, a lot of work more to be done, and we have to keep our eye on the far Atlantic. Tropical Storm Lee is out there now. It's now a tropical storm. And already we're going to be mobilizing persons to be watching it. Over the past week and a half, I've been taking part in the daily briefings that Mr. Jackson and the others have been having, and the linkages with your own head of your EOC, and these people are doing tremendous. We have to be proud of the professionals that we have in the Caribbean. And I think we have to big them up in a big way and give them the support that they need. So we're here. It's a sad occasion, but we're here to support.